Maybe this sounds familiar. You don't struggle to start. You struggle to stay consistent. You made the plan, you know what to do, but something along the way just stops sticking. And that's the part that messes with your head because you start wondering if something about you has changed. In this episode, we talk about why consistency feels different in midlife, not because you've lost discipline, but because the way you've been approaching it no longer fits your life. And once you see what needs to shift, consistency stops feeling like such a fight. This is the show for midlife women who want to stop second guessing and start feeling strong, focused, and fully themselves. I am Heike Yates, a midlife fitness expert and mindset coach. On the Pursue Your Spark podcast, I share simple, no fluff strategies for movement, mindset, and nutrition so that you can stop spinning your wheels and start showing up with strength and confidence. Because thriving in midlife doesn't start with perfection. It starts with one bold step. Strong, confident, fully you. That's how we do midlife. Let me say this clearly before we go any further. If consistency feels harder than it used to, it is not because you've lost discipline. It's definitely not because you're broken. You know what to do. You've done it before. What's changed is the context. Your life, your energy, your responsibilities, and the strategies that used to work no longer fit. And I hear this from so many women I work with. And once you understand why that is, everything about consistency starts to make more sense. Let me show you what this looked like for me at one point. This was one of the moments where I realized that consistency in midlife feels different. I've always put my workouts right with my schedule. So 9 o'clock Tuesday was Pilates, Thursday, 11 o'clock strength training. And I kept all these appointments with myself and my health that were non-negotiable. This is when I went. This is what I did. And then one morning I was standing in the kitchen looking at my calendar. I knew I had a workout scheduled. And I just felt this wave of resistance. It wasn't that I didn't want to exercise. It felt more like, right now, I just don't have the capacity for this right now. And this feeling was really new to me that I negotiated my own non-negotiables. In the past, the calendar really made the decision for me. This is discipline. This is what I'm doing. But at this moment, my plan felt draining instead of giving me more energy. That was a shift I couldn't ignore. I realized that structure alone wasn't enough anymore. I needed to build in flexibility, still getting my workouts in, but being flexible with what I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it. So consistency had to change like it does for many of us. Before we talk about strategies and taking action, as we always do here at Pursue Your Spark, we need to name what's actually going on here for us. The real struggle isn't missing the workout because the hardest part is what we tell ourselves afterward. The inner dialogue that often sounds so painfully familiar, and it is painful. Things like, I used to be so disciplined. Why can't I do it? Why can't I just go back into it? I did it before. Other women seem to have this all figured out. Why not me? Do those sound familiar? But what actually hurts the most is not the skipping days that sting. It's the self-doubt that creeps in afterward. It's the fear that maybe this is just how it's going to be now. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. It's the embarrassment of having to admit or even tell somebody else, I have to start over again. When you feel like you should be way past the start over business. And this emotional spiral is a big part of rebuilding consistency in midlife. And it's rarely talked about, but it's so incredibly common. We all think that consistency should just come naturally. That consistency is not motivation. It's not a motivation problem. It's not a discipline problem. It's a midlife context problem. It's a different view on consistency. Because why this matters is not about motivation or discipline, like with my calendar story, because what matters now is your life has changed, your energy has changed, your responsibilities have changed, and the strategies you're using haven't even caught up yet. Once you understand why consistency feels different now, a lot of the shame and the guilt starts to fall away. And I want to recommend some supplementary reading or listening to this episode, which is my book, Pursue Your Spark. And you will find some examples of women that are dealing with problem with consistency and what they are doing, and other ideas of how to move forward in midlife. I leave a link in the show notes so you can grab your copy, hard copy, or your audiobook on the go. So what is this whole thing really about? It's not about trying harder. We all tried that. If I try harder, I burn out more. It's about recognizing what has actually changed. And that is very difficult for so many of us to be real honest with what's changed, because with my calendar story, again, I had it planned. It was on the book, but I just wasn't into it anymore. And in midlife, we will carry more of a load, more of a mental responsibility than we used to by caring for our family, for aging parents. We're oftentimes in a sandwich situation where we have still kids at home or in college, and aging parents we need to take care of. We want to also take care of our relationships with our loved ones, our partners, our husbands and wives. And we also have far less of a margin for recovery when life gets so full. How often have you said, oh, I'm going for my run, and then you didn't stretch afterwards, or you exercised really hard and then you didn't eat your protein or drank your protein shake afterwards, which aids in recovery? It means you're not weaker. You're just carrying more. You have more responsibilities that weigh you down. And your body gives a very different feedback. Your energy isn't as predictable as it once was. How many times have you said, oh my God, I'd rather put my feet up and do nothing because I just feel wiped out? And recovery takes longer, even when you're doing the right things. I remember when I ran marathons years ago, and I recovered like that. No big deal. I had my stretches. I had my protein. I'm a big fan of protein. But I bounced back like that. Now I do a long, hard hike. It takes me a full day to recover. And I have to acknowledge that this is just what it is. Pushing through the way you used to often backfires, as you just heard from my story. And once felt motivation or motivating, now it's exhausting. Like, I have to be honest. I'm a triathlete. I've done triathlons for years. The swim, run, bike, back to back. And it was a lot of fun. And I did Ironman distances, but I don't have the fire in my belly anymore for what this triathlon. I'm like, I need to back down. I need to do things that feel better and still are beneficial, but are different. And like I just said, you may be done with extreme. The all or nothing doesn't feel worth it anymore. Like, I can't see myself doing an Ironman or a full Ironman. I just don't feel like it. You also may feel you don't want to burn yourself out just to prove something, that no one ever showed you another way to be consistent without going all in. So you don't know what to do. So you're stuck knowing extremes don't work, but don't know what does. Here's a story from one of my Instagram friends who I've been chatting with back and forth. So if you want to talk to me, see me on Instagram or on YouTube and have a conversation with me, or just reach out to me at heike@heikeyates.com and tell me what's on your mind and what you need help with. We chatted, and we were talking about how her energy is really not there. Her body is aching. She would love to ride her horse, but she just can't. She can't even get up on her horse. And she's about my age, in her late 50s, early 60s. And she is doing kickboxing and HIIT workouts. And she's doing all these things that she'd done before. And now she just feels wiped out. It's just not working. And she says, you know what? I'm even doing acupuncture and massage and all this, it's not helping. So we had our conversation and I said, why don't you try something different? She stopped her HIIT workouts, went to regular strength training with reps and sets, took out the intensity from all the workouts she did. She also continued, which I forgot to mention, her Pilates workout. She's loving her Pilates workout in addition to that. And she still does her cardio with hiking. She said, Heike, you have no idea how great I feel to letting go of all this extreme and kickboxing and HIIT workouts. And she says, now I'm doing something that works for me. And guess what? I can ride my horse again. I actually can get back in the saddle. And a lot of it changed. And so remember this, your old strategy stopped working, not because you failed, but because you evolved. Your life changed, your body changed. Your approach needs to change too. Do you feel isolated, worn out, and disconnected from the life you used to enjoy? Maybe your friends invite you to go hiking or play pickleball, and you say no, not because you don't want to go, but because you know you won't be able to keep up. You watch their lives move forward while you quietly sit it out, feeling embarrassed by how much your body has changed. Maybe you feel a shift in your marriage. You're tired. You don't feel attractive. The energy and confidence aren't there, and intimacy doesn't feel the way it used to, even if you never talk about it out loud. Or maybe you love your grandchildren, but you hesitate to say yes to watching them because deep down, a whole weekend would be too much. Sometimes your daughter already sees that, and that can hurt in ways that are hard to explain. If any of this feels familiar, you don't have to figure it out alone. Send me an email and share a little bit about what you're experiencing. What's been frustrating, where you feel stuck, and what are you longing to change? I read every message personally, and my intention is to give you something useful you can implement right away. Email me at heike@heikeyates.com. This can be the beginning of a new chapter, one where your body supports the life you want rather than holding you back. You know, in my book, Pursue Your Spark, I talk a lot about the traps that we get stuck in, and there are hidden traps. And trying to be consistent the old way is another trap we can get stuck in. This is where most of us get stuck, usually without even realizing it. And that's why I dedicated a big chapter of this in my book. So here's what's really happening. We're not giving up. We're trying to be consistent the way we always have been. And that's a trap. We're stuck in this. It's not working. We keep banging our head against that same strategy and saying, it's got to start. It's worked before. And here's how this trap in particular shows up. Restarting with big expectations instead of a slow baby step entry. It's like, this time I'm going to do it. And I know it resonates with so many of you. I'm going to do it. I can do it. And then it all fizzles out. And you feel bad about yourself again, which you shouldn't have to. Or waiting to feel ready before beginning again. I'm waiting for the right moment. This is not now, but it doesn't have to be big and all-encompassing. Baby steps are the way. Believing consistency only counts if it looks and feels perfect. Like with the one missed workout, you feel like you're not consistent, you can't do it. And this is why this keeps failing us. This approach ignores how your energy actually shows up now, and it goes up and down, just like your insulin levels. It creates pressure instead of momentum. So your high expectations that you have, that I can do this, even if the workout feels like, but crap, you keep pushing, you keep pressuring. And when something gets missed, it turns into the proof that you can't stick with it. As a result, every restart feels so heavy and heavier than the last, and you don't feel good about yourself. You get the idea. The reframe that changes everything is that consistency is not repetition. Consistency to me is returning. It's not about doing the same thing over and over without interruption. What worked in the past will work now. It's about staying connected even when life interrupts us. And it does a lot, as we all know. We had those plans and a business meeting shows up. We have to babysit our grandkids. We want to do something else in life. The husband has something. There's always something that interrupts us. Once you stop measuring consistency by perfection, it stops being so fragile. It's not this big, I can't stay consistent. You know you will with the strategies that we're talking about soon. It's time to take action. A midlife-friendly way to build consistency. Once you stop trying to force consistency or the idea of what consistency is, a very different approach will work a lot better, and it starts actually to work. Here's the big shift. It's not about doing more. It's about doing things differently. It's about choosing. Yes, you get to choose. Nobody tells you what to do. Is to do things that fit in your midlife. I want to talk about 3 shifts. And the shift number 1 is shrink the commitment. Stop asking yourself, can I do the 45-minute run? Although I don't feel like it. Start asking, what's the smallest version I won't resist? How about instead of the 45-minute run, you do a 10-minute run instead, or do a run walk. Or if you just don't feel like running, go for a walk. Do a Pilates workout. Do some stretching. Reducing the time or shrinking the commitment doesn't mean it's ineffective. It simply means it will become sustainable. And as sometimes you hear me say to, if you do more of one thing, you may actually love it and do more of it. So if you're tired of being a runner, start walking. Start replacing it with other things like, of course, I will say Pilates. It doesn't mean that you're being less, and it doesn't mean that you won't stick with it. Think small. Number 2, the second shift is build around your energy and forget all this willpower nonsense. Your energy isn't the same every day, and that is totally normal. We eat differently, we sleep differently, we have different stress factors in each day, and not every day is the same. So don't rely on the magical willpower because it never will happen. So some days are growth days where you can push a little harder. You can push your run. Let's use the run since I started as an example with this. A little harder. You can go a little faster. Other days, they're maintenance days where you may switch to Pilates, for instance. But both types of workouts count because consistency isn't a daily effort. Consistency is staying in the game when your capacity shifts. Let's stop this whole, I have to be consistent all the time. Do something. Every day is really one of the things I keep saying when people talk about, I can't stay consistent. And the shift number 3 is anchor habits to identity, not outcomes. What do I mean by that? Instead of focusing on results, focus on who you are becoming. Are you exercising because that's what you've always done with a certain goal that you always had? Or has your goal shifted? For instance, I want to be fit as a grandma. I want to be in shape to zip around with my 2 grandkids and do the things to my ability as I can, but that's my focus. It's not a performance goal of being an Ironman. It's a life goal to be fit for my grandkids. Or you might change your identity to something instead of, I'm doing something every day. I'm someone who moves most days. Or I take care of my body, even when it's imperfect, because being perfect is not the goal here. And that's where confidence quietly rebuilds. Not through intensity, but through showing up again and again in a way that fits your life. Think about that again. Instead of focusing on results, focus on who you're becoming. I'm somebody who moves most days. I take care of my body. It doesn't have to be perfect. I want to know what you think about this. Reach out to me at heikeyates.com and let me know what you think about your new identity. Hey, it's Heike. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked around and thought, why do I feel so stuck when I've done everything I was supposed to? That's exactly why I wrote Pursue Your Spark. It's for those midlife moments where you feel like you've lost your momentum or yourself. Inside, I walk you through the 5 biggest traps that keep women stuck, like perfectionism, overwhelm, and the feeling of never being enough. And then I give you 6 simple worksheets to help you shift out of that stuck space and start taking bold, doable steps forward. This book is your midlife reset button. No fluff, no pressure, just the clarity, courage, and confidence you've been craving. The link is in the show notes. Grab your copy and let's move through this together. It is action time, ladies. I want you to leave with one simple reset you can actually use this week. What is this and what is it not? It's not a plan. It's not a challenge. It's just a reset. We talked about the mindset reset. Now we're doing a physical, let's do things reset. Step 1, pick one habit. Choose one thing, just one. Not everything that you should be doing. And one habit that feels supportive right now. What could that habit be? It could be, walking. What would be, not everything else you think you should be doing. What would be supportive right now for this particular walking habit is actually not listening to anything while you walk. Just space out. Step 2, decide on the minimum version of what you just chose as a habit. It's not the ideal version. It's not what your girlfriend does. It's the version you won't resist on a busy or a low energy day. And that might be 10 minutes of movement, Pilates, stretching. It might be a short walk. It might be one small moment of care you can repeat. And it's self-care, like breathing, taking some time out, de-stress. Step 3, commit for 7 days. Commit for 7 days only. No upgrades allowed, so don't add more to it. If it feels easy, you don't add more. I know it's tempting to do more. If it feels good, you still don't do more. Don't overpower yourself. The real goal for this week isn't about improvement. The goal isn't progress. The goal is trust. Trust that you can show up. Trust that you won't quit when it's imperfect. Trust that consistency doesn't require pushing. And the trust is what makes the next step easier. If this episode felt familiar or resonated with you, restarting again, telling yourself you'll be more consistent next week, or wondering why consistency keeps breaking down, hear this clearly. You're not failing. The way you've been trying to stay consistent no longer fits your life. You don't need to start over, push harder. You need one clear next step that actually works for where you are right now. If you want help finding that step, book a call with me at heikeyates.com, and I'll also put the link in the show notes. During our conversation, we'll pinpoint where you're stuck, and you'll walk away with one actionable step that you can apply instantly. So book that Spark Breakthrough call with me right away. And in the next episode, we're talking about something most women in midlife don't realize they're doing. They're not holding back because their body can't do it anymore. They're holding back because they've absorbed by rules about what's appropriate, realistic, and smart at this age. Rules they never agreed to, but follow anyway. We're going to uncover where those rules came from, how they shape our confidence and choices, and why noticing them is often the first step to feeling like yourself again. Because when age stops being a cage, everything else starts to open up. Don't miss it.